Whether you're looking to buy a car from a dealership or a private seller, there will always be some shady SOBs. You know, the guys that just want to squeeze every possible penny out of your wallet.
You gotta squeeze every penny.
Or worse yet, sell you some lemon that'll die on the way home. So, in this video, we're gonna teach you how to be a negotiating machine by doing all the research and knowing all the tricks of the trade that salesmen use every single day. Plus, that way, you can get your car at an ideal price and never regret a second of cruising in your new ride. The first step on this list involves highway flying on some wheels that you don't even own yet. And the last tip is the sword of Excalibur for car buying. Dishonest dealers, beware. Here are 8 mistakes to avoid when buying your next ideal car. Let's go. Now this first tip should be a no-brainer, but the amount of people that actually buy a car without ever test driving it first is downright terrifying. I mean, how can you know anything about the quality of the car without taking it for a spin? So let's take her for a spin. And the first thing you want to do is a little stop and go driving just to test out the brakes and make sure that they stop straight, which in this Porsche, it does. And after you've taken it for a test drive, park it and then test everything out like AC and all the other bells and whistles. I really don't care if you're buying the car in the middle of a frozen tundra in nothing but your underwear. Crank up that AC and make sure it works. Make sure that the windows work, the sunroof. But seriously, blast your favorite radio station until the seller goes deaf. The last thing you want to be doing is driving home in your new to you wheels and find out that the brakes sound like scratching a chalkboard or that your AC doesn't work. Ask Squid about that one.
I kind of want to sell my GX already.
If you ask the seller for a test drive and he says no,
Run.
while you're at it, go snag one of our limited edition hand-drawn Ideal Tees. It's probably the best decision that you'll ever make, except, well, buying your next ideal car. Because if the seller won't let you test drive their car, well, that is a surefire sign of a scam artist, and a pretty lousy one at that. So don't play the fool, take the test drive before you buy. If you plan on buying a car through Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, or any other listing service, make sure you meet the seller in somewhere that's not so sketchy. You know, somewhere in the middle. No, I'm not talking about meeting a seller in a dark alleyway at midnight, which is obviously a terrible idea. No, I'm talking about meeting them somewhere where you can keep them accountable. Most of the time, private car transactions go perfectly smooth. However, you can never really be sure if someone's trying to pull a fast one on you. So meet the seller in a public place where there's a bunch of other people around, and definitely meet them in the daytime. An ideal tip is bring your roughest, toughest looking amigo so they know that even if they think about crossing you, that isn't a very good idea. And this is especially true if you don't know very much about whoever's trying to sell you their ride. And if shit doesn't hit the fan in the very first meeting and you decide to buy the car, then maybe you can ask the seller to meet them at your house or theirs to finalize the transaction. But remember, listing services such as Craigslist have virtually no buyer's protection whatsoever. So even if you meet up with the seller and the car looks all right, make the extra effort every single time to ensure that the car is really what they say it is. Yeah, if it looks like a Porsche and it smells like a Porsche, it probably is a Porsche. And if you're watching this right now, chances are you know a thing or two about cars.
I'm something of an expert myself.
But if you're anything less than a professional auto inspector, please, for the love of all that is good, get your car inspected before you buy it. Come on, seriously, it only costs $100 to $200 and it's cheap insurance that could save you thousands on repairing a car that you never should have bought in the first place. Getting a pre-sale inspection on the puppy that you could love for the rest of your life will uncover any hidden defects that the seller didn't want you to know about. And believe me, it's gonna make you feel confident when you decide to pull the trigger on the deal. And even if you're shopping at a dealership that says that they have all of their cars pre-inspected, get another set of eyes on the guts of that car before you buy. Because I think it goes without saying that we all know that dealerships have some not so nice tricks up their sleeve. So go on Yelp, find a mechanic that you trust, and take the car down to their shop to have a pre-purchase inspection. And that's before you even think about pulling out your wallet. Trust me, it'll be the best $100 to $200 you have ever spent, because you can't even put a price on peace of mind, can you? Now, if you plan on buying a used car from a dealership because you think it's safer or whatever, then there's one major sales trick that you need to be aware of.
Have you heard about our special we got going on right here?
No.
See that number? That's the price, $10.
No.
$10.
That's right. Those annoying limited time offers they throw at the end of every single car commercial ever made. 0% financing if you buy in the next 3 months. Or maybe rebates up to $5,000 if you buy today. Or the one that we've all been hearing lately, buy a car today, and if you lose your job in the next year, return it for a full refund. See, if they're willing to give you a rebate today, then they're for sure gonna give you that same rebate tomorrow when the car's still sitting on the lot. In fact, that rebate usually becomes better the longer that that car sits on the lot unsold. It's all a psychology play. It's all up here, and it's to get you to rush in and buy before you consider the actual fairness of the deal. The idea that these offers are going to expire and you're gonna miss out on a sweet deal is just plain false. So take your time, sleep on it. Tonight, tomorrow, heck, for the next week. Really think about it, because chances are that limited time offer will still be there when you're ready to actually buy. Now, one of the main reasons that buying from a used car dealership is a bit shady is that cars aren't the only thing that they're trying to sell you. After you actually decide to purchase one of their bargain lot beaters, they're gonna try to sell you on every add-on imaginable. And what's worse is that they're gonna try to make you feel like every single add-on is absolutely necessary, which it's not. Everything from alarm systems, paint protection products, interior sealants, heck, even blinker fluid are all better to be bought by a third party instead of from the dealership you buy the car from. And yes, some of these products are actually awesome additions that can help keep your car looking new. Dare I say, ideal. But if you're buying from the dealer, you're already probably paying too much for it. Unless, of course, you're watching this video, because the Taj Mahal of car dealership scams is theft protection, particularly VIN etching. This is one of the most expensive add-on services that the dealership will try to sell you. And time again, it has been proven to be pretty much useless. They'll charge you upwards of $400 to etch a number on your windshield. I think that your 3-year-old neighbor could do with a rusty nail. And the problem with this add-on is it only comes in handy if your car is stolen and then taken apart. When's that ever happened to you? Let us know down below if it has. I'm sorry. It's starting to sound like the dealership isn't much better than the thieves they're claiming to protect you against. So when they're trying to sell you on that theft protection, tell them, no way, Jose. And if they don't listen, just tell them that Brad Danger told you not to. I don't know, whatever name you use, absolutely do not get any of those add-ons. And it doesn't matter if you're buying the car from a dealership or from some random Joe Schmo with their Silverado. It's always an incredibly good idea to ask for the title before you purchase the used vehicle. One of the best power moves that I've found is to ask the seller if you can see the title and if it is in their name, because you'd be surprised how many times it actually isn't. And they make up some hokey story about how it's their friends or their moms or whatever. That means you got to put on your detective glasses and start doing some research, because a lot of the times they're actually just some secret agent from the dealership trying to pose as an average pedestrian. But you're an ideal car buyer, and so tactics like that won't fool you. You're too smart for that. You watch Ideal Media videos and you know how to buy a car like a pro. And if you don't, go check out the Ideal Car Strategies. Because here's the thing. If the seller has already lied to you about the title and whose name it's in, what's stopping them from lying to you about other stuff? Not a whole lot. And one thing here at Ideal is that we try to be as honest as possible. And so I would just recommend, if they lie about the title and what name is on it, I just walk away from that fraudulent fool. Now, if the title is in the name that they say it is, this is super important, because buyer beware. Check the title for these 2 words, either salvaged or refurbished. If you see one of these 2 terrible words, run for the hills. Salvaged or refurbished cars are cars that have been totaled and super glued back together. And if you care at all about living to see tomorrow, don't even test drive one of these hunks of junk, let alone buy one. And if you're applying for an auto loan to finance your next car, do some research before some sleazeball at the dealership gets you to slap down your John Hancock. You know what I'm talking about? Auto loans have become one of the most predatory markets in the world. Don't believe me? GM Financial is the biggest financial institution in America. Yeah, they make all of their money on financing. And that's because many people just forget to do their due diligence before agreeing to the terms. Go to your bank first, ask them what kind of terms they put on an auto loan, and then get them to print a quote that you can bring to the dealership. Get printouts of your credit score and history and slap them on the dealer's desk and shout, "I shall not be scammed." And do not, under any circumstances, start the negotiation by telling the dealer how much you want to pay monthly for the car. That is the worst thing that you could possibly do. And dealers, they're tickled pink when they hear this because they know that they're going to be able to sell you something that is significantly less valuable than what you're paying for. And the best way to avoid auto scams altogether is to either pay for the car outright or make the biggest down payment that you can. It's common sense. The less financing you need, the less opportunity there is to get you f***ed on financing. What if there was this way that you could see everyone else's cards when you're in the middle of a poker game? In the world of used car buying, this is called a scan tool. And you can pick up one of these for less than $100. And my favorite is the Blue Driver Bluetooth Pro, which is actually linked down in the description. And that thing has saved me thousands of dollars and a ton of headaches. And the thing is, if there's ever been any foul play with the car's codes, that scanner is gonna tell you. And here's how it works. Just plug it into the data port, which is below the steering column in most cars, and check the numbers for DTC and Readiness INC. DTCs are diagnosed problems that should have you lacing up your running shoes and leaving the deal in the dust. Readiness INCs means that there's diagnostics in the car that have not been run. And that means that the car's codes have probably been tampered with. If there's a number other than 0 for either of these, get out while you still can. Shiesty sellers may think that they have you fooled, but if you pull out that scan tool, they'll go white in the face. So I hope that these tips have equipped you with everything that you need to become an Einstein of buying. Drop us a comment and let us know which of these tips you found the most helpful. And if you got any other tips on car buying, we want to hear those too. Oh yeah, and don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. And if you disliked it, don't just hit the dislike button once, hit it twice. Really let us know. And if you're new here, my name is Brad Danger, and we're all about getting you into the ideal car of your dreams. So hit that subscribe button if you're new and turn on the notification bell. Oh, and definitely check out some of our other ideal content on the wonderful world of wheels. And as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.